When my grandfather passed away last summer, I had no idea I was about to uncover a land dispute so outrageous it bordered on criminal. I was living in a tiny city apartment, working long hours as a computer programmer, when I got the call about the will. To everyone's surprise, especially my entitled cousins, I inherited Grandpa's entire ranch, 200 acres of prime land on the edge of Pinewood Valley. The ranch and all assets go to my grandson, Daniel, the lawyer read aloud. My cousin stormed out, red-faced with rage, but I just sat there, stunned. I hadn't been to the ranch since I was a kid. I barely remembered it. 2 weeks later, I drove out to see what I now owned. The house was worn but solid. The land? Breathtaking rolling hills, ancient oaks, and a crystal-clear stream. But something felt off. As I walked the southern property line, I noticed several luxury homes, gated, pristine, and far too close to my land. Curious, I pulled out my grandfather's property maps. Sure enough, about an acre of those houses appeared to be built on my land. I headed to the county records office. My hunch was right. 10 years ago, the Pine Lake Estates HOA had quietly pushed their boundary onto my grandfather's land. He was in his 80s then, barely able to maintain the property, and they took advantage. 5 luxury homes, built partially on land they didn't own. I set a meeting with the HOA. Their president, Karen Palmer, greeted me with a forced smile. The board sat around a long, polished table like they were running a country club, not a neighborhood. "I'm the new owner of Wilson Ranch," I said, "and you've encroached on my land. County records confirm it." Karen's smile vanished. "That's impossible," she snapped. I laid out my surveys. Dead silence followed until Bob Matthews, a red-faced man in a golf vest, barked, "We don't appreciate threats. Pine Lake Estates is a respectable community." "This isn't a threat," I said calmly. "It's a fact. And I'd like to resolve it." Karen leaned forward. "We can tie you up in court for years. Or, we offer you $25,000. Quietly. I almost laughed. That land is worth 10 times that. Without including the cost of 5 houses illegally built on it. Karen smirked. "Take it or leave it. Young man like you probably needs the cash." I left. The next morning, I got a certified letter demanding $250,000 from them for unauthorized access and harassment. They were building on my land and threatening me? But I had an idea. A better one than lawyers. First, I did my research. Turns out, Pine Lake Estates' water source, their well, was on my land. They'd been drawing water without permission for over a decade. Second, I learned the only access road to those back 5 houses crossed my property. There was no legal easement, just a verbal agreement from Grandpa. Nothing in writing. So I acted. I hired surveyors and marked the real property line. Then I built a sturdy fence. Right down the middle of those 5 backyards. It cut off their pools, gardens, and even one garage. The homeowners lost their minds. The HOA called the police. The officers looked at my documents, shrugged, and said, "It's a civil matter." The next day, Karen came to my door with 2 lawyers. "Take down the fence," she demanded. "I'm just securing my property," I said. "We'll sue you for everything," one lawyer hissed. I smiled. "Before you do, I've already filed a report about the illegal well. And tomorrow, I block the access road. No way in or out for those 5 homes." Karen turned white. "You can't do that," she whispered. "I can. Unless we talk." 2 days later, we had a new meeting. This time, the tone had completely changed. We reached a deal. The HOA agreed to pay me $500,000 for the land they built on and another $150,000 in backwater usage. In return, I granted them legal easements for the road and well, plus annual usage fees. But the cherry on top? Karen Palmer was forced to resign. She had known about the property line issues for years and kept it hidden from the homeowners. 1 month later, I had $650,000 in my bank account. I used some of it to restore my grandfather's ranch house, left my city job, started a small organic farm. Now, I ride horses along the same fences my grandfather once maintained. Sometimes I wave to the neighbors in Pine Lake Estates. Most are decent folks, misled by a corrupt HOA. Last weekend, the new HOA president invited me to their summer barbecue. I brought apple pie made with fruit grown on my land, using my grandfather's recipe. As we sat together, laughing and sharing food, I thought about Grandpa. He would have been proud. Not because I got revenge, but because I stood my ground and did it with integrity. Because sometimes, justice isn't about courts. It's about knowing what's yours and never letting anyone take it from you.